Shabbat Shalom to all of you. This week we have double parashot, Tazria Metzora. And this is a time of also special. We just went through Yom HaSmut. That is the day of the independence or creation of Israel. We had the opportunity to be in the march on Thursday. Even the snow, interestingly enough, we were there and we stand up and we rejoice about the 70 years anniversary for Israel. And that is a joy that many, many, many more years. That is only the beginning of this beautiful situation of having Israel back in our times. This week, these two parashot are going to be talking about an area that if I can put it all together, we call Tahor Betamei. And this is about the way that it's translated, what I don't like it, is pure or impure, or clean or unclean. The problem is that we are not clear on understanding this message from the Torah. First of all, this is not what we think it is about some kind of leprosy or disease, a contagious disease or something like that we used to think about it. But this has more to do with the attitude of the person to be present in the Beit Midrash on the Chol Moed, to be in the presence of the Creator, in the place that He has given to Israel to worship Him. Today, as you know, we do not have any longer the Beit Midrash. We don't have any longer a temple. And then the question is if these things are applicable today or not. All depends who read it and how they understand it. And this is the problem many times about what we look at the scriptures and everybody wants to give you their opinion. The sages, they give you one way, and not only that, but they read it and they start adding and adding and adding and adding to the point that becomes almost impossible to understand what is really a clarity for this. I want to try to be very simple because I like simplicity even in the most difficult areas. Tahor and Tamei has to do with life and death. This is the basic idea. Tahor is living, Tamei is dead. And what you are going to see that our God is the God of the living, they say. No? And when you go to be presented before the Creator, you are a living being. And a living being needs to be presented in a way that is clear and presentable, if we want to say in that way. And when you have something that it is an obstacle for you to be present on Him, you need to take that thing off from yourself, prepare yourself, and go presentable. You know, for example, to give you an idea, you know, you are invited to a wedding. No? How do you go to a wedding? You go dressed like a beggar? You go to the worst that you can. First of all, many people, when they're going to go to something special, what they do first, they take a shower. No? And then they acicalate themselves. They try to look nice. No? And after that, what they do, they put the best vestments that they have, clothing. You know? They try to look good. And especially if you're a girl, oh, that is even more work, you know. A boy takes 1 hour to get ready. A girl takes 2 weeks. But it's more or less, that's the process, you know, to give this idea. Now, with the Creator, it's the same thing. The Tahor, you are presentable. With the Tamei, you are dead. You are not ready to be presented. The word Saraat, that has been translated, and especially that idea came from the Septuagint, you know, was translated leprasa. And from there came the word lepers or leprosy. And it's not the Hanse disease, by the way. But what we can look at and we can understand it. I am trying to be very simple, but at the same time, I would like to get to the point. When you have something inside you, it start destroying you, and you don't see it. You know, today, with the advance of technology and medicine has been going so far, doctors are discovering more and more, psychiatrists, psychologists, and all doctors, neurologists, all the doctors that have to do with the mind and the body, they are discovering that there is no any longer that separation between one and the other. And one of the things that is almost now a fact is when you are emotionally empty or emotional weak, or when you have an emotional situation that you are struggling with. You know, today, one of the diseases that are very popular is what? Depression. You know? But you are going to see that many of those diseases that are, we call it psychological or mental diseases, has a great influence in the physical body. The doctor has discovered that when you are under this stress, and under this depression, your immune system gets low. And when your immune system gets low, you catch any disease that you can catch. I want to tell you, many people think a cancer was invented just yesterday. To your own surprise, all of us, we have cancerous cells in our body. All of us. Then when the cancer becomes very strong, when our system has been diminished, because we went through a very difficult situation, through a very stressful situation, to a situation that we couldn't deal with, and our body becomes very, very weak and couldn't defend themselves against the inner cells that we already have. They are not good. Because our body is constantly fighting against those things. Then the Creator tells us, you know, if I go to Devarim, I like this portion, only in Deuteronomy, Devarim, chapter 30, verse 15. The Creator say, look, today I put before you life and good, and also I put before you death and bad things. Choose life. Now let me go back again where I start about Tamei and where I say Tahor. I like to say the Tahor, Tamei. life and death. You're going to see, for example, what is very interesting to understand this even better. The things that are separating to us is the emissions that we as humans, we produce, that are emissions of life, that once came out of our body, becomes dead. In the women, in the regular menstrual period, every month, after they are ovulated and they have not become pregnant, the woman, what the woman does? Discharge those things that are not part, that they used to be to form life, and now once they come out of their body, they are dead. Okay? That is what we call a contamination. The same thing happens with men. When they have seminal fluids that come out of the body, that also come out of the body, and they don't do their job, what happens? They become death contamination, because it's a dead body. Then the separation is about life and death. What the Creator is telling us is that He has given life, and this life is to live it, and to be positive, and to do what is right. And what is this thing that instead to give us life, start to destroy us? One of the worst elements that we have, or the best element, all depending, is so-called the tongue. The tongue is a little instrument that is worse than the atomic bomb. This little element can destroy you or can make you. Ladies, don't get upset with me, but there is always a saying. When men fight, they fight, and they can kill each other, but they fight in the moment. But when ladies fight, they use their tongue and they cut you in little pieces. They do surgery with their tongue, and they separate you in little pieces. And they're so good because they have this better capability than men to use their tongue. They are more verbal. And this is a problem for men and female. This is called Lashon Hara, the evil tongue. And this is what our sages call it. And the word Metzora, they say it is the contraction of the word Mosei Ra, and they had put it Mosei Sham Ra. That is to bring out a bad name to a person. Metzora means the person who has the diseased person, the sick person. And this person is sick because of the tongue and how they use the tongue. At this moment, if I ask you, has you ever talked bad about anybody? Of course, you have never done that. I am the only one bad here, but it's okay. I take my consequences, But the truth of the matter is, if you're human and you have a tongue, better believe me, it's very hard to dominate that tongue. It's too sharp and too dangerous. And we need to be in constant struggles. And that is the reason that we are in constant process of going from Tamei to Tahor. In other words, from death to life. And how we can go from death to life is through the process of Teshuvah. Teshuvah is the process in which all of us, we come together we acknowledge what we have done, we recognize, we confess it with the same tongue that we have done something wrong. Now we need to confess it, and we need to do the reparation to get closer to the Creator. Now, why these things only apply for the Beit Mikdash? Because that is when you supposedly you need to be totally clear of any wrong things when you are presented to the Creator. You know, today, because we don't have the Beit Mikdash, we don't have those things, we play that very, it's not a problem. You can come to worship God, and maybe inside you there is the worst thing that could be. But we are very capable to fake. We are very, very capable to look like something that we are not. And the truth of the matter then, the Creator is asking us to be ourselves. And to be, first of all, honest with ourselves in order that we can be honest with others. Because if we can be honest with ourselves, then we can be honest with others, we can be clean before the Creator. I am not saying to you that it's easy. And I am not saying to you that we can expect not to do it. I always have told you that the Creator didn't make us perfect. Other religions that teach you that you can reach perfection, I say wishful thinking. When you accept your own reality is when you can really come back easier to the presence of the Creator. Because when you realize that you are limited, the only thing that you can do is to ask for help, to make it right, to do it right, to keep improving. Have you heard me that many times I say to you, there is a process in our lives. You know, all of us are living beings. We go through a process from birth to death. We are growing in different ways. Some of us, we grow in the right way. Some of us, we grow a little twisted. Do you know that saying when you plant a tree, and if the tree grows crooked, it's almost impossible to put it straight again unless you break the tree and you plant it again. How many of us today, we need to be broken in order to come back to the direction of the Creator, to be tahor and to get rid of the tamei. You see, Lashon Hara is more than only talking bad about somebody else. It's spreading lies about others. It's criticizing others because you don't like it the way that they are without talking to them in their faces. Or creating a system or an environment against others only for the sake of creating sinach chinam, gratuitous hate. Many of us, we are sick, and sometimes we don't know why. But I want to tell you one thing. When you are spiritual sick, sooner or later it's going to come back to your physical body. And you need to be honest with yourself. Sometimes we take very light. I have gone through difficult times, physically speaking. And I personally went through a process that I almost died. And let me tell you, in that process, I learned a lot of things, because when you are sick, you are separated from the Creator. Very interesting. It's the quarantine. When you are sick, you feel like you cannot approach the Creator. Why? Because first of all, you need to deal with yourself. Until you don't deal with yourself, one can't healing. What is the thing that are holding you back to have a relationship with the Creator? What you have done, or what you have thought, what you have expected, that is holding you back. Because until you don't make it right. You know, people come to me and say, Rabbi, what about how to confess or how to make it right? And I say to people, when you commit a sin or you commit a fault publicly, you have the obligation to make it right publicly. When you commit a sin or fault privately, you need to make it right privately. Because our Creator, the Borei Olam, is always there. And He knows exactly what you and we are doing. There is no one here on us that has the idea that I can hide from the Creator. It's impossible. I told you the last week, that our Creator has a night vision. He can see in the very dark areas. And He doesn't need a lantern, a light, or anything like that. He can see you, wherever you are. In a practical way, let me ask you this question. Can you make it today to think about what is holding you back? What is the thing that doesn't allow you to be free? What is the thing that doesn't allow you to live? Because do you know what is the difference between life and death? Do you know what is the difference to be alive or to be dead? When you are dead, everything decays, everything is composed, everything is destroyed. Yeah. When there is life, everything is growing, flourishing. And do you know that your own attitude, be an attitude of life or an attitude of death, can be an attitude of tahor or an attitude of tamei. When I was writing for speaking to you this morning, I say, what about this idea? When you have a glass, half of water, and you see the glass. When you see the glass, how do you see the glass? Half full or half empty? I want to tell you, to all of you who see the glass half empty, you are very self-destructive. You are very negative. Negativity conducts you to death. You see, when you start seeing everything is wrong, nothing is okay, nothing is good, you become so critical that you yourself damage your inner being. Let's try to see the positive things of everything. And the things that are so negative, let's try to look what will be the way to take care of that. to help. But we can live that way, we thinking that nothing happened to us. But you're going to see the results. Don't ever think that there is a separation between your spiritual life and your physical life. They are all attached. Do you know sometimes why you get sick? Look at it. Hear me well. I say sometimes. I'm not saying all the time, because people are very quick to tell you say that. No. But sometimes you get sick because the Creator is slowing you down. And He's putting you in quarantine for you to deal with the issues that you have not dealt. Or you are passing by. And what He wants for you is to make it right. You have heard me many times. My favorite is Psalm 139, verses 23 and 24. It made me say to me, Rabbi, why is your favorite psalm? Because here say, search me, O God, and look within me, and see the things that I cannot see, and show me what is holding me back, in order that I don't keep doing it. And I can have a free way to go to you and to have life, to worship you. In a very special way, and let me tell you this in a short way. The Creator has given to choose between life and death. And He said, I want for you to choose life. Have we chosen life? Or we are very happy to be choosing death? Our life speak for themselves. And let me tell you, not because things goes wrong in your life sometimes, that means that you're doing something wrong. But maybe it's for you to think about it and to call your attention and to meditate on something and to have a better perspective. Those people who do not have the capability to change are the people that have more problems than anybody else. Those people who live already in the format. This is the way I am, and this is the way I'm going to die. These people are the ones that are going to suffer more. Because we need to be flexible. And we need to start learning to grow and to look for life, not for death. And the first step to look for life is to acknowledge ourselves. You know, I always say to you that one of the greatest problems that as individuals we have is that we have problems to forgive ourselves. You will be surprised how hard sometimes it is for us when we commit a mistake or we do something wrong to say, I'm sorry, or to say, I did wrong. And the people who are hard heads, the people who have more hard time to acknowledge their mistakes, are the people that have more problems to grow up. When you cannot learn from your own mistakes, and you cannot learn from other people's mistakes, you are going to go to another way. In the Torah, in this parashot, you need to present yourself before the Kohen, the priest. And they are the ones that they are going to decide it is or it is not a disease. Because they are going to check about your inner being, how exteriorized. And you can look in that way when you start making your own search within yourself. You are going to be able, if you are tahor or you are tamei. You have life or you have death. May our Creator, Borei Olam, be allowed to give you life to all of you, to all this community, and that we look and search more for life than for death. Shabbat Shalom.